Knicks family, what's popping with you this morning, man? Hopefully you've recovered, even if it's just a little bit. Hopefully you recovered just a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. The Knicks took a bad loss last night. But you know what? We're going to go ahead and move forward. And today we're going to do a little bit of a coach's corner today. And we're going to talk about breaking the zone. We're also going to talk about some other forms of defense, some help side and some recovery and all that kind of stuff. All right, so it's going to be a good show. Make sure you stay tuned with it for the entire show. This is the shoot around, ladies and gentlemen. And then later on in the shoot around, we'll get into some just basic NBA, take a look around the NBA. But Prince, I want to ask you, man, now that you've had a little bit of time to sleep on it, you know, we're in the gym now. We got all the players here. It's, shoot around practice. We got to get ready for Boston tomorrow. We got an early game. Starts at like 12 o'clock. So you're not going to be practicing hard. You're not running hard. You're not doing all those type of things. What's your thought process right now?
Sim, I know last shoot around I came in. I had my face was a little frowned up. Today I can't do that. I came in, chipper. You gotta be upbeat. You gotta lift these guys up because again, I think today, like you said, we're not gonna run them too hard. We're gonna get up some shots. We're gonna watch some film. But I think this is one of those like gut check moments. This is like where you really sit down and you really look at each of your brothers in the eyes that's in the trenches with you, and you ask them, hey man, if I give you everything I got, you got to give me everything you got. And with that being said, we just got to get back to what we've been doing. So I think this is one of those gut check practices where we truly just get to the nitty gritty and see if we can air some things out, maybe some grievances or some misunderstandings with philosophies or wrinkles in our defense and offensive game. But again, I think this isn't a practice to really bash people. I think we really got to uplift these guys because, again, we are on the skid and we don't want to continue this. So we have to get us one this week. So
right.
That's what I'm at.
And I think it's important. It's important. And as you guys can see, Nate is late to the shoot around, hair still messed up, all that. You know what I'm saying? So, if this was my practice, Nate would be doing a pyramid. No, you wouldn't be doing laps. You'd be doing a pyramid, right?
Give me suicide, Tim.
No, you wouldn't be doing a suicide. You'd be doing a pyramid. A pyramid is worse than laps and is worse than a suicide. Okay? This is a pyramid, ladies and gentlemen. Before we get into breaking this zone down, this is a pyramid. A pyramid is like this. You start off, you're on the baseline, okay? You do one push-up. You sprint, all-out sprint to the other side, you do 2 push-ups. You sprint back, you do 3 push-ups. You sprint back, you do 4 push-ups. You sprint back, you do 5 push-ups. And then you do 5 sprints. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait a minute, Prince, I'm not done. After you do those 5 sprints, now you do 1 sit-up. Sprint to the other side, do 2 sit-ups. Sprint back, do 3 sit-ups. Sprint to the other side, do 4 sit-ups. Sprint back, do 5 sit-ups. Then you do 5 more sprints. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then,
bro, you lost me at sit-ups. Push-ups.
Hold back. Then when you get back, you do 1 jumping jack. Sprint to the other baseline, do 2 jumping jacks. Sprint back, do 3 jumping jacks. Sprint back, do 4 jumping jacks. Sprint back to the other baseline, do 5 jumping jacks. Then you do 5 more sprints. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you finish your pyramid. Nate, if you were late to practice, you would have did one, at least, at the very least, you would have did 1 pyramid.
No, I won't be late again.
And I tell you what, I used to have my boys do 3 pyramids. Every practice, we would do 3 pyramids.
You're a madman, Sam. You're a madman.
My boy's gonna be in shape.
But they in shape though. That's the way you get in shape.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
we was in shape. You know what I'm saying? Because we press, and so we had to be in shape. But anyway, in practice, if I'm Tom Thibodeau, when I'm addressing the guys today, one, I would have had a talk with Julius Randle last night, and like I said earlier, I would have let Julius Randle know you are the best player on the team right now, right? Statistically, you're the best player. You've been the engine to make this thing go. I need you to talk to RJ, right? I need you to be, like it or not, RJ is going to look up to Julius Randle. He is going to look for Julius Randle's approval. They don't even have to be best friends. It's going to happen because Julius Randle is playing the best. Julius Randle's 26, RJ is 20. It is the natural way of things. When you get on a team, there is always someone there that you're looking for their approval, especially when you're young. You know what I'm saying? So I think Julius Randle, and if he's going to take this next step to be a leader and understand how to help his brothers become better, this is what he has to do. He has to learn how to try to mold and help in those moments when a player may be feeling a little bit bad about themselves, right? Because look, RJ is going to get better. He's going to succeed in those moments. You got to go through those growing pains, like we said last night. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to look at the caterpillar. They want to look at the butterfly. They don't want to think about what the caterpillar's got to go through to become a butterfly, right? They don't know what's happening inside of that cocoon when that caterpillar is becoming a butterfly. It's going through all kinds of changes. The caterpillar is ugly. The cocoon is ugly, but it comes out as a butterfly. You know what I mean? And that's what growth is. People don't want to deal with that growth, but that's what growth is. And, Julius Randle, we don't know if he plans to be here long term or if the Knicks plan to keep him long term, but he's here right now, right? And he can only help himself by helping his teammates, by helping RJ. If I'm Tom Thibodeau, I had that discussion with him last night, about him being that guy. You know what I mean? To help RJ, get through this moment where he might be feeling a little bit tough, a little bit rough about himself. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm doing if I'm Tom Thibodeau. That's what I did last night. There's so many times, only so many times you can tell the team you got to brush it off, but they got to brush it off, right? Because they got to play Boston tomorrow, and Boston is a tough team. So now you got to look at last night and figure out how do we get better, right? And Tom Thibodeau in yesterday's shoot-around interview, he talked about, how there's a lot of things you got to work on, but you can't work on all of them at one time. You got to pick out 3 or 4 things and focus on those things. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm doing today. Picking out a few things, and we're going to focus on those things. You got to grab some good things that you did. You got to look at some bad things, and you got to look at some good things. And then you got to walk through it. You know what I mean? That's what we're going to do today, and looking at breaking the zone and also, some defensive principles, but also show you that they can implement these defensive principles. You know what I'm saying? Because last night I saw the very best defense to offense transition by this team that I've seen all season long. I'm going to show it to you and break it down why I think it's the best that we've had this season. But before we get to breaking the zone, because that's the first thing we're going to look at, Nate, how are you coming into this practice, this shoot around?
I mean, so this is a young team. They're still trying to figure out who they are as people and how they fit on the court. With RJ, I personally, as a coach, would just go up to RJ and just be like, "Hey, man, that was a tough break. It was a big swing, and it cost. It pretty much determined the game for us, but." It happens. There's another game coming up that I expect you to be up for and be ready to go. Don't dwell on it. It happens. You're 20 years old. You're going to make mistakes. That's just part of the life of the NBA. I like the idea about maybe telling Randall, yeah, you need to, take our, kind of, I'm trying to think of the word, trying to, help him out, let him know that, hey, you're still young at this, you're still learning how to go. Those two are going to make the team go. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. Those two are the main focus of our team. If they are not going, we're not going. And, one thing I did like about RJ last night that I did see is he looks like he's taking some assertiveness in when times matter most. And that's why I think he made that mistake, because he wants to show that he can be the dude too, that he's not afraid of the big moments. So I kind of like that. You talk about a positive. I took that as a positive from RJ, that we need to see more of that, because, hey, you're going to have bumps in the road, but hey, a true leader shakes it off and goes on to the next game.
Well, I mean, he said it when he did his post-game interview. He said, hey, they asked him about the one play where he turned the ball over. He said, I think I was trying to go behind the back. And the ball hit off of Andre Drummond's foot. Right? And I got to be better. I got to do better. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I got to make a better decision. And I'll learn from it. And the next time I'll make a better decision. That's all you can ask from him. That's it. You can't ask no more than that. That's all you can ask from him is for him to make a better decision the next time. You know what I mean? And I believe that he will
experience, man.
make a better decision the next time. Yeah. So let's get into breaking down this zone. All right. That's what we're going to do right now. All right. Because we all know that the Knicks have had trouble dealing with zone play this season, whether it be a 2-3 zone, a 1-2-2, a 1-3-1, whatever the zone play is, the Knicks have had trouble dealing with it. So before we get into how you break the zone, because they actually did a really, really good job of breaking the zone last night in at least one instance, and we're going to take a look at that instance. All right. Before we do that, we're going to look at how you don't break the zone. Let's talk about that first. We're going to look at that first. No floor spacing versus 2-3 zone. All right. And this, if you don't have floor spacing, I don't care how well you shoot, you may not be successful versus 2-3 zone. So in this clip here, we're going to look at a couple of things. Right? We'll first see that the Knicks begin in a high 1-4 set. All right? And this is pretty common. If you pay attention to the games, you'll see that they begin in this set a lot. A high 1-4 set. All right? Bad spacing is going to allow for the defense to close off the gaps. The bad spacing is also going to allow for the 2-3 to seem like it's a man-to-man. And I'm going to break this down and show you exactly what I'm talking about. There'll be no ball reversal after the first pass. And then it's going to lead to a bad layup with no rebounders or maybe just one rebounder in position. Okay? So I want you to pay attention to those things as we walk through this clip. So I'm going to go ahead and play it, and then I'm going to use my trusty NBK mouse to show you the things that I'm talking about. All right? Again, this is no floor spacing versus a basic 2-3 zone. And I'm going to begin by showing you why I know it's a 2-3 zone. Because you might be asking, well, if it looks like a man, if they disguised it so well that it looks like a man, how do you know it's a 2-3 zone? I'm going to show you. So let me let the clip play. All right. Okay, let's start right here. Right off top. All right. Elfrid Payton already made the pass. Okay. But you see one, Elfrid Payton at the top. Then you right across this foul line, you got 4 players. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a high 1-4 set. All right. That's a high 1-4 set. Pay attention to it the next time you watch the Knicks game, because you will see that they get into a high 1-4 set. This allows Elfrid Payton to see what the defense is doing before they decide to make any kind of a play. All right, so I'm going to roll the clip, and you'll see why I know this is a 2-3 zone, and you will now know it's a 2-3 zone. You see where the guys are? You got 3 guys back here. You got 1 guy here. Isaac Okoro was just playing some defense on Elfrid Payton, and then now that the ball is passed, bang, he rotates to his spot. Okay, I'm going to let this go just a little bit further. Bam, there we go. So now Isaac Okoro rotated to a spot. You see 1, 2, you got 3 guys. 3 defenders along the back line, 2 defenders right up here at the top, along the foul line area. Now, when you look at the Knicks offense, okay, you got 3 wing players or guards against 2 defenders up top. This is how it should be and how it's supposed to be. But they still did a bad job in here between Kevin Knox and Julius Randle. They did a bad job, in my opinion, right? How they should be. Kevin Knox needs to be over here in this corner. Julius Randle should be here at the elbow. Or in the foul line, right? This is going to cause Larry Nance Jr. to make a decision, right? Him to make a decision, and this guy to make a decision. Because if Julius Randle is here, okay, JaVale McGee can cover Julius Randle, or this guy can pinch. That'll probably both happen. But when Kevin Knox is in this corner, Larry Nance Jr. has to decide, do I watch this guy? Do I watch Kevin Knox? All right. Kevin Knox should be running baseline to baseline, to tell you the truth, because he could be over here, ball side, so it can draw this guy down, or he can be over here getting ready for the reversal. Depends on what the coach wants to do. All right. I like to have the ball come to one side of the floor and then aggressively reverse it to the other side of the floor, because I believe that's what makes the zone shift. Now, if you got a baseline runner, Kevin Knox can be here. The ball comes all the way down to Kevin Knox, while Julius Randle is still at this elbow. So now you got Julius Randle going from box to foul line to box. So Knox can be here with Julius Randle here. This sets up a 3-man triangle in this area and basically gives you 3-on-3. If Kevin Knox swings the ball, boom, 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 Kevin Knox runs the baseline to the other side. So he can be there to meet the ball when it gets back around. But we don't do this. Instead, Kevin Knox is kind of here. Julius Randle is here. And we have nothing along this baseline to pull the defenders down. So now everything is bunched up inside here. No space on the floor for the Knicks to move. All right, let's take a look and see what happens. You're going to see now the ball goes into Kevin Knox. Some people might say, but Sim, that's okay. You got the ball into the middle of the floor. But here's the problem when they got the ball into the middle of the floor. The defense never shifted. You want the defense to shift before you get that ball in the middle of the floor. That's what's going to make the gap open up. This gap never really opened up because the defender was always there. Right? You got Julius Randle, should be in his corner. Now that the ball got passed here, Julius Randle should be over in this corner. Get out the way so Kevin Knox can make a move. Because of the bad spacing, this looks like a man-to-man. Okoro on R.J. Barrett, JaVale McGee on Kevin Knox, whoever this is on Julius Randle, Lance Jr. over here on Reggie Bullock, this guy on Elfrid Payton. Looks like a man-to-man. Why? Because the Knicks had bad spacing to begin with. So let's see what happens. Boom. There's no space, no place for Kevin Knox to go. Comes out. Now, stop it here. Kevin Knox, there's still 13 seconds on the shot clock. He could have brought the ball back out, swung it over here. You got enough time to reset. Instead, he goes in, pulls up, bad layup, and they're off to the races. No floor spacing versus 2-3 zone, and that's what you end up with. So again, what did we look at? We saw the Knicks get into, they began in a high 1-4 set. You saw bad spacing that allowed the defense to close off the gaps. The bad spacing also allowed that 2-3 to seem like a man. There was no reversal after the first pass. And then it was a layup with no rebounders available to be able to at least grab a rebound and get back on defense. Or, I'm sorry, at least grab a rebound and try to get an offensive, second chance points. It wasn't there. And a good zone will keep you from getting second chance points, because if I rewind this just a little bit, right, when Kevin Knox went up with that shot, I'll stop it right here. Look how many Cavs defenders are in this area to be able to rebound. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And look where the Knicks offensive players are. Outside on the perimeter. 1, Elfrid Payton's over here. 2, 3, and then you got Kevin Knox and Julius Randle in here. You think 5 versus 3, are we getting that rebound? Probably not. Now, of course, defenders are always going to be on the inside because that's natural. But we're not in position to even think about getting that rebound, right? Because of this zone and the way it's set up. So it's tough. All right, but now let's take a look at how you can break a zone. Now, when we look at this zone here, this zone is not a 2-3 zone. This was a 1-2-2 trap. A 1-2-2 trap. But the Knicks did a great job of breaking this zone. And you can tell that Tom Thibodeau practiced with these guys on breaking the zone. And, again, growth is not going to be a straight line. It's going to go up and down. It's going to go up and down. But this is what I want you to pay attention to. Again, you're going to see them begin in a 1-4 set, a high 1-4 set. What the Cavs are doing here is a 1-2-2 trap. The top man on the 1-2-2 zone is going to trap the ball. And sometimes it may look confusing, like, who is the top man? But I'm going to show you who the top man is. You're also going to see the ball swing to one corner, right? You'll notice you don't get anything off the first pass. They get the ball deep to the corner. After that, there's going to be a strong reversal. There's no dribbles. Nobody holds the ball for a long time. And the players hit the gaps. All right, this is the perfect way to break a zone. Now, in basketball, nothing goes perfectly. So it doesn't go perfect. But they did it very, very well, and you'll see what the result is. So let me go ahead and let it play. All right, boom. You'll see again. 1-4 set. Elfrid Payton at the top of the key. Julius Randle. RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, Reggie Bullock. 1-4 set. All right. I want to bring this back just a little bit because I want you to see how this is a 1-2-2. All right. I'm going to stop it right there. You got Elfrid Payton. You got Isaac Okoro guarding Elfrid Payton up here. 1-2-2. This is a 1-2-2 set. All right, they're running a 1-2-2 zone. And what they're doing is trapping. The top man is trapping off of this 1-2-2 zone. So you're gonna see Isaac Okoro come over and trap RJ Barrett. Soft trap. They're not doing an aggressive trap. All right, so I'll let it go. Bam. You see the trap right here. Okay, so now what do? Once this ball gets to the wing, I just want to let you know this. Once this ball gets to the wing, Lance becomes the top man on the 1-2-2. Because if they weren't trapping, Isaac Okoro would have dropped back down to the foul line area, about the elbow area, if they were not trapping. But since they're trapping, they're having a top man trap. It might look like he's still the top of that 1-2-2 zone, but it's not. It's actually Larry Nance Jr. I kept calling him Larry Nance Jr., who is the top of the 1-2-2 zone. And you're going to see when this ball is swung that Larry Nance Jr. is going to go set that trap because he's the top of the zone. But you see the trap here on RJ. Okay, I'm going to let this go. The ball gets swung down to Randall. Larry Nance Jr. goes and he traps Randall. Okay. Now, what I want you to notice, remember, 1 pass, 2 passes. Okay. But this time, they didn't try to get the ball into the center of the floor first. That's what they did the last time. They tried to get the ball into the Kevin Knox first, right? But they didn't have any kind of ball reversal, so the gaps did not open up. This time, they did it differently. You're going to see a strong ball reversal, and you're going to see the gap open up super wide. Watch. Julius Randle has the ball, swings to RJ, to Payton, to Bullock, and I'm going to stop it right here. Look at Julius Randle hit the gap. Okay, the ball comes down, just might be hard to see, to Mitchell Robinson here in that short corner, and I'm going to try to rewind it just a little bit so you can see now Reggie Bullock has the ball, or is coming to Reggie Bullock. Julius Randle is spying the gap. He can see it. He can see where the gap is. Everybody else is looking at the ball. All the defenders looking at the ball, where the ball is going. Julius Randle is eyeing that gap. Okay? He goes in. The ball goes down to Mitch. Bam. Look at Julius Randle in the gap. Boom. Why was that? Because the ball reversed. Bang, bang, and then here. Now, Mitchell Robinson has to learn to hit that gap a little bit quicker. Because this guy, remember, they're in a 1-2-2 trap. Right? I think that's Cedi Osman over there. He's coming down to trap Mitchell Robinson because he was at the top of the 1-2-2 zone once it got swung to the wing. He's coming down to trap Mitchell Robinson. Mitch has to be able to notice that this gap is wide open. Takes him a second, right? Because the trap comes. Bam. He hits Julius Randle. Now, once he hits Julius Randle, look at where the gaps are. RJ Barrett's over here all by himself. Now, if it were me, I would have told my guy, this is when you cut to the basket. This whole side is wide open. Cut to the basket, get a layup. It was RJ's decision to stay out here on the perimeter, but still, it worked. It worked, although I would have rather had him cut to the basket, but that's okay. Stays out on the perimeter. Randle faces up. You're going to see Isaac Okoro. He's now worried about RJ Barrett. Randle is one-on-one with Larry Nance Jr. And because this entire lane opens up, because Okoro has to come out, he has to make a decision. Do I go to Payton? Do I go to RJ? He decided to go to RJ. And wide open layup by Elfrid Payton. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is the perfect way to beat a zone. And I want to show you something on this. I'm going to rewind it really quick. I want to show you something. I want you to pay attention to who's on the floor for the Knicks. All right? Just look at these names. Elfrid Payton, 33% from the three-point line. RJ Barrett, somewhere around 28% from the three-point line. Julius Randle, 35% from the three-point line. Reggie Bullock, 30% from the three-point line. Mitchell Robinson, 0% from the three-point line. And they still broke the zone. They busted that zone wide open. Why did they bust the zone wide open, ladies and gentlemen? They busted that zone open because of spacing and ball movement without shooters on the floor. Right? There are ways to do it. Of course, having shooters on the floor is always going to help. It's always going to help beat the zone. There's no doubt about it. But if you have good spacing, you have the proper ball movement, and you notice in that play, one dribble was taken before the shot went up. One dribble. And Julius Randle really didn't have to take that dribble. One dribble was taken. The ball swung. Julius Randle got the ball right there at that elbow. He took the one dribble, then he gave it off to Elfrid Payton because the lane was wide open. They did a great job reversing the ball, hitting the gaps. That's how you beat a zone. Now, where you place where a coach decides to position his players, that's one thing. He's going to, depending on the zone, he's going to position his players in certain areas. But these things hold true. Swing the ball. The ball goes from one corner. You reverse it to the opposite side of the floor to open up the zone, open up the gaps. You hit the gaps, and then players cut to where they need to cut because the floor opens up. That's how you do it. And guys, if I'm Tom Thibodeau, that is what I'm working on again this afternoon. Right? That's what I'm doing again. It's clear that he worked on it, at some point because they did a much better job. Right? They did a much better job. But I'm working on it again. Prince, anything you want to add to that before we move on and talk about some of these weak help side rotations and, the best play that I've seen this season going from defense to offense. Anything you want to add there?
That's what I was doing as you was talking. I was looking at a couple, ways to break, the 1-2-2 sets and stuff like that. And exactly what you was talking about was spot on, Sim, is just swinging the ball, being a little bit more attentive to find the open spots and just be a lot more aggressive and, just take care of the ball, make sure passes, bounce passes, things, smart plays to beat zones. That's the only way we're going to beat it. You can't be lackadaisical. You can't be, 2 steps behind. You got to, like you said, we all got to be on the same page when it comes to attacking these zones. So that's about the only thing that I can truly add. So,
yeah. And Nate, anything you want to add real quick? Because I'm gonna move on and talk about this best defense to offense transition that I've seen throughout the season from the Knicks. A little bit of light, if you guys remember from last night. It's a little bit of light in here. Go ahead, Nate.
Yeah, so watching the diagram, so I have a little, sorry, did I lose you? No, sorry, lost my phone. I have a little bit of a theory on maybe why we don't space out as much on the offensive end. I think because these shooters are so hesitant to shoot the ball that maybe they don't want to be put in the situation to where they're on the 3-point arc and having to shoot, and they rather just stay in the paint and clog up the middle rather than space out. I just think if you're a confident shooter, you want.
But I'm saying you just seen that they did it without having strong shooters on the floor,
right?
Just by how you space yourself, how you swing the ball, and how you hit the gaps.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure, but like, I mean, that you showed one clip and you showed another clip. I mean, I didn't watch the whole game. I mean, was it consistent throughout? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it looked more like they were clogging up the middle a lot of the game when I was watching it. But I don't know. Maybe he adjusted at halftime. Maybe he told him to space.
That was in the first. That right there was from the first half of the game. The Cavs switched their defense up. You seen in one clip they were playing a 2-3 zone. That time they did a 1-2-2 zone trap. Right, so they switched their defense up. Sometimes they were doing man, and teams are doing this. They're doing this to the Knicks. I'm sure they're doing it to other teams as well. They're switching up the defense. So every play is going to look a little bit different. You know what I mean? Because the way that defenses are being switched.
Right. And I think if you're Tom Thibodeau, I mean, you're being honest with this team right now and saying, hey, guys, they don't think you guys can shoot. And that's why they're playing the zone. So, he preaches defense. So I'm pretty sure in every practice, he's given them all these types of zones that they could be looking at. It's kind of like it reminds me when I was a coach, when I coached 7th and 8th grade, and we practiced press because all these AAU teams, all they do is press. And so I had told my guys, like, listen, guys, they're not going to let you get the ball up court on your own. You're going to get pressed. And if you don't understand that and comprehend what we're trying to do to break these presses, we're going to get killed. And sometimes we did.
Well,
So
the thing is, you only need, you seen they do everything out of a 1-4 high, 1-4 a high 1-4 set. Everything was out of a high 1-4 set, but you really only need 2 or 3 sets.
Sure.
Out of 2 or 3 sets to bust open a zone. Okay, you want to have a set that's for a zone that has an odd front, like we just saw 1-2-2. A set for a zone that has an even front. We saw a 2-3. Okay, and then you can have just another something else in there that you can be a hybrid that can go between both different types of sets, zone sets. They started in a 1-4 so that they can see, okay, what is the defense doing? And then guys can break off to where they need to be based on what the defense is doing. And that call comes from the point guard. You know what I'm saying? So, if it's, it's a 1-4 set, if they're in man and they stay in man, they can decide to have, Julius Randle go to the corner, Mitchell Robinson come up and set a screen, so that 1-4 set just allows them to break off into whatever they need to break off into based on what the defense is giving them. So let's take a look at some defense, though. The Knicks defense. We looked at some offense, how they struggled breaking the 2-3 zone, but then they broke the 1-2-2 easily. Now, I want to look at some struggles on defense. And help side defense for most teams in this league is where you have trouble, right? So what we're going to look at here, what I want you to pay attention to, this right here is bad rotation and recovery. Bad rotation, bad help side defense, no rotations, no recovery to their man. Okay? The Cavs in this set are going to they're going to run a high screen roll with Damian Dotson, and again, I wrote down Lance. I'm sorry, Larry Nance Jr. So just Lance, just get it, Larry Nance Jr. Lance. So you're gonna see the Cavs play a high screen and roll with Dot and Larry Nance Jr. And from the Knicks, you're gonna see weak help side defense. There's no one that really helps the helper, but since there wasn't any help side defense, there was no reason to help the helper. There's no recovery, and it leads to a wide open 3. Check this out, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so let me stop it right here really quick. I know you didn't even get to see anything happen. All right. You're going to see right off top, Damian Dotson is coming off a screen from Larry Nance Jr. Elfrid Payton is trying to fight over this screen. It's not easy to fight over screens either, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, boom. They fight over the screen. Now, let me rewind this real quick. You see Julius Randle here. He's helping out because once you get over that screen, it is natural that the guard is going to be trailing the person with the ball. So Julius Randle is helping out. And this is what happens every single night. And instead of Larry Nance Jr. rolling to the basket, he pops over here for the 3. Now, what do we do? How do you stop this from happening? Because Damian Dotson, he penetrated just deep enough to make Julius Randle have to commit to him. He has to. Larry Nance Jr. is wide open. So how do you stop it? You know how you stop it? This guy right here, number 25, Reggie Bullock. Okay. I'm going to rewind this for just a second because I want to point out something with Reggie Bullock. I'm going to try to go slow. Reggie Bullock here, he can see what's happening. He can see it. He can see that Larry Nance Jr. is going to pop. He's got Cedi Osman over here in the corner. But he still has to stay with Cedi Osman at this point because Damian Dotson has the basketball in his hands. So Damian Dotson is going to make a decision based on what the defense does. So he's got to stay here. first. Now, once he moves along, boom, the ball is now out of Damian Dotson's hands. That ball, once it's going in one direction, unless there's something new out there that I don't know about, that ball cannot turn around and fly over here or turn around and fly over there or turn around and fly down here. It's going to go to Larry Nance Jr. And until they invent a ball that can go where you tell it to go while it's in the air, it's going to continue to go that way until that invention is made. Okay? At this point, the ball is in the air, and I always tell my players, you don't wait until the ball is halfway to the other player, to the other offensive player to rotate. You don't wait until he catches it to rotate. As soon as the ball leaves Damian Dotson's hands, Reggie Bullock should have been here. Bomb on him. But then you say, well, Cedi Osman's wide open in the corner. But this is what should have happened. Reggie Bullock covers Larry Nance Jr., Mitchell Robinson scrambles over here to Cedi Osman. Julius Randle, because this is his man, jumps down here to Andre Drummond. That's the rotation that should have happened. Reggie Bullock kind of has to initiate that. Again, Reggie Bullock should have been here. Boom. Mitch, because he's seen that Reggie Bullock helped out here, he's got to help the helper, and then Julius Randle has to help the helper. Instead, Larry Nance Jr. gets the ball here. Now, this clip maybe looks like Reggie Bullock is coming out here, but he's not really. He's just jab stepping here. He doesn't rotate here. Okay? You see Julius Randle's over here, covering nobody. Elfrid Payton, Damian Dotson, R.J. Barrett, Isaac Okoro, Mitchell Robinson, Andre Drummond, Julius Randle, because he had to help out, he's now covering nobody. He really should be rotating down here to cover Andre Drummond so Mitch can pop out here, but Reggie Bullock never comes over. And then, although all of that happened, he could make a last-ditch effort to come out and try to cover Larry Nance Jr., but that's a lot of ground to cover. He's probably going to be jumping in the air, and then you take a chance that you're fouling the three-point shooter. Instead, Larry Nance Jr. gets a wide-open three-point bucket, and there it is. Bad rotations. So what did you see there? Again, you seen the Cavs play a high screen and roll with Damian Dotson, Larry Nance Jr. There was weak help side defense. There was no help for the helper, but the helper never helped. There was no recovery, and it led to a wide open three. But you know what, though? The Knicks can do this. They did it in this game, ladies and gentlemen. The Knicks can do this. Again, it's about growth. It's about development. It's not all going to happen at the same time. It's going to take time for this growth and development. It takes time. So let's look at, to me, the best, the very best defense to offense transition that I've seen from the Knicks this season. Okay? And what you're going to see here is really good help side defense. You're going to see these guys recover. Then you're going to see one-on-one defense. Then you can see a rebound to an outlet pass to transition offense. All right? This is what you're going to see in this clip. And it was done textbook style. Textbook style. Before I get that, I'm going to ask Nate. You might want to, Nate, I can see you out the corner of my eye, my peripheral vision. Don't forget, I'm a point guard, so I can see you in the peripheral vision. You should go lay your hair down or something like that, so you don't look like alfalfa when we come back on the screen. Just a tidbit. All right. But anyway, let's get back to this defense to offense transition. Because this was beautiful by the Knicks here. All right, so we're going to let this play. Boom. Let's stop it right here. See who's defending who. Okay, you see Elfrid Payton on the ball. All right, and look at how the Cavs try to spread the floor out. The ball's way out here in the corner, keeping this thing spread out. This is in the third quarter. It's not like they're trying to run the shot clock out or trying to run the clock out to end the quarter. It's 10 minutes to go in the third quarter. Okay? Spread the ball out. Look at who's guarding who. You see Mitch on Drummond. You see Randall on whoever this is over here. It's hard for me to see. I think that's Cedi Osman over there in the corner. Right? Let's watch the rotations by the Knicks here. Boom, you're going to see the ball goes into Andre Drummond. Right? I believe that's Isaac Okoro, or whoever it is. Maybe it's Damian Dotson. That's Damian Dotson. Is going to get the handoff from Andre Drummond. And again, all the guys are in good position. You see Julius Randle already has a foot in the paint. Reggie Bullock already has a foot in the paint. Right? They can see their man over here. They can see the ball. Reggie Bullock can see his man, can see the ball. RJ Barrett, foot in the, he's not exactly in the paint, but he's good enough. He can see the ball. He can see his man. Really good position from the Knicks here. Let this play. Boom. Bow. Stop it right there. You seen Damian Dotson got the handoff. Reggie Bullock got deep into the lane and cut him off. That is how you cut off that penetration. You see Julius Randle, just in case he gets past, he's still in the paint. Ready to cut him off. All right? We're going to let it play. Boom. The ball gets kicked out. I believe that's Cedi Osman that the ball gets kicked out to. All right? Reggie Bullock is down in here. You can't see him. Julius Randle sees that Reggie Bullock is kind of deep. Maybe got a little touch on the screen. He starts to run out to get Cedi Osman. He runs out, but wait a minute. Reggie Bullock is there. So instead, he tries to get the steal. He doesn't get the steal. Kind of falls out of bounds. The ball goes to Larry Nance Jr. All right, let it play. Larry Nance Jr. tries to penetrate. Elfrid Payton, he helps. Remember, Elfrid Payton was guarding Damian Dotson. Elfrid Payton helps. He cuts off Larry Nance Jr. so that Larry Nance Jr. can't go anywhere. Larry Nance Jr. picks the ball up. Now, the Knicks are like, okay, we got to recover. He kicks the ball out to Cedi Osman. Cedi Osman swings the ball up to Damian Dotson. And now, although Julius Randle was guarding Larry Nance Jr., since Elfrid Payton picked up his man, Julius Randle has to go to Larry Nance Jr.'s man. I mean, Payton's man, which is Dotson, who penetrates, miss, transition, score. That is good basketball right there. And that was the best defense to offensive transition defense to offense, not defense to offensive, defense to offense transition that I've seen from the Knicks all season long. That's how it's done. They can do it. You seen the clip where they did it terribly? You seen it here where they did it very well. Takes time. Takes time to build, takes time to grow. You know what I'm saying? So, let's get back to my guys over here. See if they got anything that, you want to add to that. The Knicks, man, the best defense to offense transition that I've seen in a while, that you've seen in a while. Guys, talk to me, man. Talk to me, Prince.
Sim, I loved it. I was just looking at it. There was a couple things. I was just nitpicking. Like where I see RJ, I was going to ask you where RJ is and his placement. I was always taught, to shoot the guns. You know what I'm saying? Like as far as your feet and your eyes. So obviously, you know what I'm saying, if my man's in the corner, my left foot should be pointing, my hand should be pointing where I can see him. And same difference with my right eye and my right hand, I should be able to see the ball and see what's going on that side of the court where I can still keep everything in front of me. Where RJ in his foot placement, I'm wondering if that's why he's getting beat back door. Would you think he should be more, do you teach that position to be more flatter? or, a lot of people teach flatten out to the ball. So if the ball's high, obviously you're going to be at an angle. If the ball's flat, you're going to be flat. So I'm just wondering, is RJ's placement in the right place, even though it was a great defensive rotation, but is his placement in that set up where he should be, if you can pull that back up? That was the only thing that I could really see the nitpick is if I would just talk to RJ about seeing ball, seeing man at the same time, because it just seemed like his feet placement wasn't in a good placement for him to be able to react to that backdoor cut. That's the only thing that I seen. So.
And see, you're right. I always teach my guys, and I will bring that back up really quick. All right, I always teach my players, and let me go ahead and fast forward it so I can get to RJ. All right, I think I just got it to the perfect spot, and let me get it up so that you can see it. All right, so if you look at RJ here, right, he is leaving this backdoor cut open. Look at it. He's ball watching, number one. He's looking at the ball. And if you look at where his feet are, he's not flattened out to this guy. He's letting, I think that maybe that's Isaac Okoro. Isaac Okoro is actually behind R.J. Barrett. And if he starts to sneak over here, R.J. Barrett probably won't see him. Yes, he should be flattened out so he can see the ball and he can see Isaac Okoro. And this right here is happening time and time again to the Knicks. Way to point that out, Prince. It's happening time and time again to the Knicks because of this type of, I don't even want to say spacing, but body positioning. That's all that's about.
Yeah, yep.
It's just about body positioning. How are you positioning your body? You got your back to your man. That's a cardinal rule of basketball. You don't turn your back to your man.
Well, you
got to be able to see your man. And right now, RJ has his back to his man, and he's looking at the ball. That's ball watching. And he does not have his feet in position to see, so that he can see both, right? He should be flattened out. He's have one hand up pointing at the ball, one hand up pointing at his man, right? And if you do that, you got one hand up pointing at the ball, one hand up pointing at your man, you're going to be able to see both. And if you don't want to point like this, you don't got to point like that, but you got your hands out, right? Pointing at the man, pointing at the ball, so now you know where it is. Because in the way this is right now, if Okoro goes back door, RJ's not going to see him until he gets almost to the basket, right? And this is how we've seen Gordon Hayward take advantage of us the other day, right? Going back door so many times. And we've seen it against the Nets. Guys just going back door all willy-nilly anytime they want to. And it's these little things, guys, little things, small, minute details that you can fix easily. You can easily fix these things. Easily fix those things, man. Way to point that out. Prince. And let me change this up. Small things, very small things that can be fixed easily, So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Just a little bit of a film breakdown on, the Knicks offense, the Knicks defense, ways that they can fix it, things that they can do to get better. Let me get to a couple of phone calls here. Actually, before I get to this phone call, Ron Cleveland, what's popping with you, man? Let me answer a couple of super chats before I get to you, my brother, all right?
All right, man.
First, Daryl Pemberton, he said, Sim, how does the refs know when teams are in a zone, especially when some zones look like a man-to-man and not call an illegal defense? That's a pretty good question, and it may not be easy for the ref to see that. I'm not sure if they call illegal defense anymore. I think they just call defensive 3 seconds, right? Because the zone is in place, I think they just call defensive 3 seconds. So you can't hang out in the paint, for more than 3 seconds. So even if you're in a zone, you got to place yourself so that you have, a foot in the paint or in it, or foot not in the paint, or get out the paint really quick or something like that. In high school, there is no defensive 3 seconds. So you can, a guy can hang out in the paint all day long. All right. As a matter of fact, I've seen coaches, take their big man, like they'll be playing a zone, or they'll be playing man, and then they'll take their big guy, if the opposing team's big guy can't shoot, and just take their big guy and put him in the paint and just let him chill in the paint. I never liked that, you know what I'm saying? Because, you give that big guy opportunities to do some things without defense on him, but I've seen coaches do it. All right. But so I think they call defensive 3 seconds if someone is just hanging out in the paint. I don't think there's actually an illegal defense anymore. Right. And then NYK31 said the Knicks are the worst team. You know what? They're getting better, man. That's all I can say. They're getting better. They lost, but they got some things to work on. Development it doesn't go in a straight line. You know what I mean? Anyway, Ron Cleveland, what's poppin', brother? How you feeling?
Man. What's going on, Sim?
I'm good, bro. I'm chilling, man. How you feeling?
Hey, man. Hey. Feeling as good as it can be expected with these losses we keep getting. But I tell you this, Sim, man. When I look at what's going on with us, man, it's just a microcosm of we finally getting good coaching. I can't completely kill Tibbs. I want to see an adjustment in that start lineup, and I think that's really our major problem, man. With Alfred Payton on the floor, and he is what he is. He's limited, and we're always playing from behind. And that catches up with you. You know it. You can't continue to play from behind, man, because you're going to give a team, especially a team that's shorthanded, you're going to give them confidence. You know what I mean? But the things you can't control is defensive effort, defensive schemes, and knowing where you're supposed to be. And I agree with you 100%, man. This team, a lot of times, because we play mostly a lot of man defense, shout out to Guillermo, he brought it up too. You know what I mean? You're gonna have more lapses. You're gonna have more opportunities for lapses. But if we do play a little bit more zone, because I really don't think we played zone.
We have
when
not.
When I look at it, I just see man-to-man defense, and that's when you're gonna get your breakdowns. And another thing what a zone will do, especially when you go and you notice them when you running that short rotation like that, it actually gonna help you guys rest a little bit. You know what I mean? When you're trying to run and bust through screens and all that, man, that wears you out.
Yeah.
That wears you out. And so when you look at the team and last night, and it's starting to become a recurring theme where you got guys, 2 and 3 guys running at one man and leaving a guy wide open. Osman must have shot about at least 4 wide open threes. Reggie Bullock collapsing in the paint when guys are ready down there. Why are you collapsing on you got to know the personnel. And that's another thing about this team. I just think the IQ overall on this team is not good. And until they address that, we're going to continue to have lapses like this. So that's what I really wanted to say, man. But hey, I'm enjoying this from the coach's perspective, watching you do your thing, man.
Appreciate it.
And I know me, you was talking, about you coming on my show, man. Hey, I'm gonna be on at 5 o'clock today. If you want to jump on, man, hey, the link will be in the chat, man. I'll definitely have the door open for you. I don't lock the door for my big brother, man.
Yeah, hey, I appreciate that. I'm not sure about today. I think me and the wife got some things lined up and whatnot.
Okay.
But I don't know how long you're gonna be on, but if I get a chance, I'll definitely pop through, man.
Yeah, and normally like I do a 5 o'clock rush hour show, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. Mm-hmm. So any of them days, man, hey, feel free to come on through and drop some knowledge from that coach's perspective as well as a fan that you are. You know what I mean?
I appreciate it, man. Will do. Definitely.
Hey, man. Hey, before you hang this phone up, I'm going to go ahead and say it. If you haven't subscribed to the Nothing But Knicks flagship channel, you heard me, make sure you go ahead and subscribe. Hit them like buttons. Turn on your notification, man. Tap that bell so you can know when the big bro go live, when he drop a video, whatever he's doing, man, because this was like, for me, for a lot of the guys, man, this here was the beginning of it all. So, hey, support this brother, man. Hey, and the Knicks, in the words of Amari, man, you know what I mean? We going to be back. You heard me?
No
the
doubt.
Knicks are back.
We back, baby. We're struggling to get there, but we coming back. We coming back.
Yeah.
We getting there.
We got some things in place.
Yeah, that's it. We got some things in play. It don't always look pretty, but we gotta ride it out, man. We're gonna be all right.
Hey, Sim. Hey, the Knicks family, man, just hold on, man. We got money and we got picks. And when you got that, you got power.
There you go. No doubt about it. Hey, Ron, I
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
you, man.
Yeah,
And,
man.
I'll talk to you soon, man.
Yes, sir.
All right. Peace. Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, and look, I'm gonna take those two videos. I'm gonna take those two and I'm gonna break it down into some separate videos or whatever. But let's just talk about the NBA, man. Just take a look around the NBA and talk about some things happening in the NBA. Now, then I'll get up out of here. Thank you all for joining me, though. You know what I'm saying? Take some time out your Saturday. I know Saturdays are busy, but I appreciate you guys for joining me. But anyway, Nate, let me get what you want to say first, and then we'll take a look around the NBA. Go ahead, Nate. You got yourself muted, Nate.
Yeah, Ron brought up a good point that I was going to say earlier about rotations. I love Mitch, man. I think Mitch has made some big strides this year, but I think he needs a lot of work on his rotations and help defense going forward. And I think that's why you see Nerlens could be playing a lot more, because he has the defensive ability a little bit more than Mitch does. And it's not Mitch's fault. I mean, he didn't go to college. He came out of high school. High school really doesn't teach defense, let's be honest, or defensive principles as much as they should. So he's got a lot to learn on the defensive end. I mean, he's a great shot blocker. He's a great rim protector, but his rotations and his help defense need to really improve a lot. I was thinking when you're showing that video, if you put Taj in that situation, Taj cleans that up. He rotates out to that guy, or, he goes to he covers that other dude because he's been there. He knows how defense works. He's a defensive minded guy. Mitch could be there, but it's going to take time. Right.
No, I get it. And I wasn't blaming Mitch, or I was actually blaming Reggie Bullock on that play, because Reggie Bullock needed to be the person to make that initial rotation. Although someone like Taj might have been able to scream out to Reggie, "Hey, that's your rotation. Go, get out there on Larry Nance Jr. Right. I got you." You know what I'm saying? Because he's the backside, right. And that's where someone like Taj, does bring that experience and understand how to make those plays. Yeah. And sometimes you do have to coach your guys along. You know what I mean? So let's take a look around. Let's take a look around the NBA. The first thing I want to talk about, just looking around the NBA, man, is last night there were 3 games postponed. The Wizards versus Detroit, Memphis versus Minnesota, Golden State versus Phoenix. All those games were postponed, due to COVID-19. And this is happening more and more often, that, games are being postponed. The NBA has tried to take, some stricter stance on the protocols, and you can't, after a game, you can't stand and talk to your opponent anymore. You got to, I guess you can, maybe touch the elbow or whatever, and keep it moving. They're trying to put some things in place. But hey, man, it's tough, and I'm pretty sure that they're losing money with these games being postponed. Right? I guess they'll make it up. They'll have some, they'll postpone the game. They'll play it at another time, but this is a difficult situation for the NBA. Thank God the Knicks haven't had to deal with it yet. I wouldn't be surprised if sooner or later we get a game postponed, because, we're playing a team that has guys out due to COVID-19. Prince,
we're playing Boston next. Huh?
We play Boston. We play Boston tomorrow. But so far as we know, there's not any issues. We'll be playing the game. I don't know.
Okay.
Prince, any thoughts on this whole thing and where it might go?
You posed this question, Sim, I think a couple chats ago, man.
Yeah.
And, honestly, well, actually, I think we might have talked about it last shoot around now that you talk about it. And I kind of brushed it off like, the NBA did good. But again, it's not really all up to the NBA. And like you said, I know Washington, they were down to like 5 players. Obviously, we played the Cavs last night, who, their injury, and I think they might have a couple COVID issues, but I think more of their issue was injuries. But again, if you got these teams that have 3 or 4 guys out with COVID, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, this is going to be something that the tiebreaker, well, not tiebreakers, but these postponed games and us having to figure them out later on in the schedule, I don't know. It might cause a little bit more. More frustration and drama, I guess, with the league. But again, as long as it, as long as we don't have, 3, 4, 5 teams out, then I think that might be a little bit of more alarming situation, because again, now you're talking about almost 100 cats with COVID or, who might have COVID. So again, if it ever gets that bad, I think, guys, we might be back in, that real weird time where there's no sports going on again, because again, it's a serious sickness. And again, we don't want to get these guys, even more sicker or they spread it to somebody else in their family or somebody else's family. You know what I'm saying? So again, with that being said, Sim, it is something that, again, we will have to definitely keep our eye on moving forward. But I hope the teams that are sick, they just quarantine and they get better. And, we can figure out a way to keep it down. Because I know you did say the NBA they're trying to get more strict, but I don't think it's like they said, and it's funny that the NBA said that, because I remember when we played Oklahoma, I seen Kevin Knox and all them guys go up to Oklahoma. They was hugging and, homeboying it up. And I'm thinking to myself, like, damn, COVID is real. You know what I'm saying? And not saying it like that, because, I done seen friends in the supermarket and, gave them hugs too. But again, we got to understand that that's a very touchy thing to do right now. So I could understand why some players would feel alienated and upset, but you just got to throw the deuces and be like, hey, bro, I'll call you after or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's hard, man. It's tough. It's, it's not easy. Go ahead, Nate.
I blame the NBA. I think the NBA has been way too lax on this situation. I think we're going to multiple bubbles. I think that they saw the bubble was successful in the playoffs, and I think we're going to have to go that way, because the reality is that the NBA travels a lot. Like, the reason why the NFL was able to finish their whole season is because the NFL only plays once a week. NBA, you play 3 to 4 games a week sometimes, and you travel all the time, most of the time. So they're gonna have to limit the travel. It's just simple as that. The less people they're around, the better chances they have of not getting COVID. And I think we're going to go to the bubbles. I think we're going to have multiple bubbles, and whether the West Coast, East Coast, Central, whatever it is, there's going to be bubbles, and that's the only way we're going to be able to finish the season. It can't continue this way. And I blame the NBA, because the NBA should have had these guidelines in the beginning. You have to wear a mask on the sidelines. They just implemented that right now or recently. You can't touch another player, all that stuff. Like, did they not see how it worked in the bubble? Like, did they feel that, because empty arena, they're not going to catch COVID? I don't know. I think the NBA took a horrible stance on this whole thing after the success in the bubble and how they were acclimated for doing that and how they did really well. They went backwards, and now they have an issue on their hands, and they're going to have to go to a bubble, in my opinion.
Yeah, we'll see. It's not going to be easy. We talked about that before, going to a bubble. That's not going to be easy to do mid-season, I think.
Yeah, well, it's too late.
So it's definitely difficult. I think they are discussing adding players to the roster, right? Mm-hmm. Which would definitely be a good thing. You know what I mean? So that you don't have so many cancellations, because the cancellations or the postponements are due to, players not having enough players, because they've got to go through COVID-19 protocols.
Allow G Leaguers to be brought up like they did the NFL, where if you had somebody tested positive for COVID, you could bring somebody up from the practice squad and they could play on the active roster if you didn't have enough bodies or enough people on the team. I think they should be able to do that. Bring a G Leaguer up for the night or something if they have from their affiliate, and allow them to play if they don't have the same numbers, But the thing about it too, Sim, is they're not fun games to watch. I'm not watching TV to see some scrubs play rather than see the big time players play.
No,
Because that's just losing viewership too. I mean, we're talking about losing money as far as revenue in the stands, but what about watching TV? The NBA Finals was like one of the least watched finals in the longest time. I mean, maybe because of the competition, but whatever. But like I watched last night or night before I watched the game, and it was players I've never even heard of. And I'm like, well, why am I watching this junk? Look last night with Cleveland. Yeah, there was more injuries, I think, because of that reason. I don't think anybody had COVID or anything like that. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. I mean, we'll see how that works out. I'm pretty sure the NBA, the NBPA, they're grappling with things that they're going to do.
Sure.
Like I just seen someone saying in the chat, players not trying to go for they're not trying to go for bubbles. If they have to, but I don't think they're trying to go for bubbles, man. They're not with it. They're not with it.
Well, you're talking stricter guidelines, man. They got to really tighten up if that's the case.
Yeah.
On their restrictions.
Yeah.
Can't have cake and eat too.
Yeah. There's about 6 games today, right? Because of course, like I said, the Indiana Pacers and the Phoenix Suns games are postponed. Right, but when you look, you see the Houston Rockets and the San Antonio Spurs are playing. Orlando and Brooklyn. I do not know if James Harden is going to be able to play tonight with versus for Brooklyn. It's going to depend on if it depends on if everybody passed their physicals and all that kind of stuff. Now it would. I'm pretty sure it would be nice for the NBA if he was able to play, but we don't know yet if he's going to be able to play. You have Charlotte and Toronto, Detroit and Miami, 76ers and Memphis play today. The Hawks and the Blazers also play today. So there's a full lineup of games that you can watch today. All right, and just to go backwards just a little bit, looking at last night, because I kind of started off looking at last night, and the games that were not played, the games that were played, Boston destroyed Orlando 124-97. All right, of course, the Knicks lost to Cleveland 106-103. Milwaukee, they beat Dallas 112-109. And everybody who's, hoping for Dallas to be bad, it's not happening, ladies and gentlemen. We're still going to get the draft pick. The Knicks are still going to get the draft pick, but it's not happening. OKC beat Chicago 127-125. Right, and let's see who else played. Utah beat Atlanta 116-92. And then you got the Lakers beat the Pelicans 112-95, not 195, 112-95. And the Clippers scored 138 points as they took out the Sacramento Kings. When you're looking at the official standings, like I said, people that are hoping for Dallas to have a bad season, it's not happening. They're 6-5 right now. They came back. They're 6-5. And they got KP back, and they are 6th in the Western Conference. Looking at the Eastern Conference, and I am going to pull this up for you a little bit as I get some feedback from these guys. The Celtics are 8-3. The Knicks play those guys tomorrow. Milwaukee is 9-4. The Philadelphia 76ers are 9-4. Indiana is 8-4. Look for Karis LeVert. If you participate in Prediction Strike, ladies and gentlemen, look for Karis LeVert to start doing well. He's going to get some major minutes in Indiana. The Nets are 7-6. The Magic are 6-6. The Cavs are 6-7. Charlotte is 6-7. The Knicks have dropped all the way down to the 11th seed. We're 5-8. We're out of that 10 seed running, ladies and gentlemen. In the Western Conference, the Los Angeles Lakers leading the West at 11-3. The Clippers right behind them at 9-4. The Jazz are 8-4. The Suns are 7-4. Trailblazers 7-5. The Mavericks 6-5. San Antonio 6-6, and the Denver Nuggets are back in the playoffs at this moment. They're 6-6. And then Golden State 6-6. OKC is 6-6. The West strong as usual. But I want to ask you guys, man. The Brooklyn Nets, obviously, they are they're the team for everybody to talk about. Are the Nets, Nate, I'll start with you real quick, and then I'm going to go to Prince. Bona fide challengers to the Los Angeles Lakers. Are they the team in the league that is the challenger, or maybe even, are they the team in the league now that is the challenger to the Los Angeles Lakers? Even though they haven't had a chance to even touch the floor yet, are they the team? Nate?
Yes, without a doubt, because they have three guys that could literally put up 50 points a night if they wanted to. And looking at when they played us, they actually don't have a bad bench. They've got some players like Luwalu, Trioza. I mean, they've got some guys that they can fill their bench out that can be serviceable. So yes, they are. I mean, firepower wise, by hands down. I mean, they are the best team in the East. Whether or not they play like it, I don't know. I mean, but I would be shocked if they're not in the finals.
Okay. Prince?
Say, kind of same thing, sentiment Nate said. Definitely, they on paper are, prolific. I mean, you got top 3 point guard. You got arguably the best player in basketball. And you got arguably, the best scorer analytically in ever to touch a basketball, as they say. So again, with that being said, Sam, they definitely pose a real big problem for LA. Now, again, can they work through all of their stuff? Can they gel within these 60 games? I mean, that's something that I guess we will have to see. And everything else going forward, is they're going to have to actually go out there and play the games. So again, yes, I do believe they will be able to fight LA for this year's championship, but it all depends on them, how much they're willing to sacrifice. Are they going to be able to deal with the New York media? So it's going to be a lot of stuff that the Brooklyn Nets have to overcome. They just won't be given the championship, as we know. Right. So something to be definitely tracked over the season.
Yeah. Now, I was checking out I read an article, where James Harden said that, listen, when he was younger, he was worried about making money. He wanted to win, but he wanted to make money so that he can, he wanted to secure his family and all of that. He said right now it's all about winning championships. And, he said the right things. He said he's not worried about scoring. He's only worried about making his teammates better or playing within the system. He was like, look, I got 2 guys that can score the basketball. My job is to help get these role players. He didn't say role players. I'm kind of paraphrasing, but help get these role players together. Get guys the ball that normally don't score or that's not scoring on their own, those type of things. He's saying the right things. Do you believe it? Go ahead, Prince. Do you believe it?
You kind of got to, at least right now until we see differently, you kind of just got to roll with the punches as we see, because nothing's going to change overnight. And again, nobody's coming in to change anything. There's no quick fix to what we dealing with. So, I definitely got to give them, got to take it for face value and for what it is.
Yeah. Okay, Nate, I see you shaking your head, man.
Yeah, it's all political speak, man. It's all coach speak. I mean, what does he expect to say? I'm gonna dominate the ball and score 30 points every night and get my own. I mean, he's just saying what people want to hear. And here's the thing. This is his best chance to win a chip. So he's 32 years old or 31 years old. So this is his last hurrah, in my opinion. So, I mean, if he is serious about what he's saying, I mean, that's why. I mean, he realizes that his career is coming to an end and he needs to figure it out. And this is his best chance to do it.
We know the NBA, it's about windows. And sorry to cut you off, Nate, but that was one thing Some people Craig Mack called me. He said I believe in the tooth fairy too, because again, how like Sim said, why wouldn't you? If you made over hundreds of millions of dollars, you know, like you said, you are literally walking out of the NBA in the next 2, 3, 4 years. I mean, you know, your window is, like I said, your window is 2, 3 years, just like the rest of the old heads in the NBA, LeBron and the rest of those guys. Everybody knows those guys have 2 or 3 years left in their tank, and you know what I'm saying. The next 2, 3 years will go between KD and LeBron and Kawhi, and then once those guys are done with basketball, then the rest of the NBA can take over after that.
The problem is what you just mentioned. All those guys, they all won rings. Harden hasn't won nothing. And the thing is that, I mean, yeah, he's a hell of a scorer. Yeah, he's going to probably go down as one of the best scorers, but he hasn't won nothing. So, I mean, it's really, you got to figure it out. I mean, if you're either going to buy into it or you're not going to buy into it. I would hope he is, because this is his best chance to get out of the East and get into the finals. Or it could implode. You know, I think a lot of people are not sure where his head is. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, you come into camp overweight, messing with strippers and all this stuff and all this good, you know, that's not right. Your head's not in the game, you know, kind of like we talk about Kyrie. And Kyrie's another issue too. We don't know what he's doing. So you got two malcontents on one team that literally want to do something else other than basketball. That's worrisome.
No, I get it. I mean, they're still going to have some things to work through, right? It's not going to be easy. Each one of those guys are used to being the man, having the ball in their hands coming down the stretch, right? I mean, you know, their usage rates, each one of those guys, their usage rate in the fourth quarter is just astronomical. It's out of this world. And they got to figure out how to do that. Look, James Harden, the one thing about James Harden I'll say, he played behind players before in his career, right? He played behind KD and Russell Westbrook, so he understands that. So maybe he can do it. I know, you know, the last 4 or 5 years or whatever it is, he's been the king of isolation, right? He brought isolation basketball play to new levels. You know what I mean? But you never know. You know, maybe that's just him, and he was doing what he was asked to do. You know, as he said, you know, everybody knows what I can do. Everybody knows I'm one of the best players in the NBA. Everybody knows that I can isolate and do these things. But
exactly, nobody questions his ability to score, but can he be a good team player and can he be a leader? That's my question.
Right, but I think what he's saying is that everybody knows what I can do, so I no longer need to prove it.
Let's see it.
So, you know, we'll see if that's the truth or not. You know what I mean? I also want to take a look real quick at the NBA rookie ladder. I was hoping maybe we was going to see one of our guys on there, you know, Emmanuel Quickly. Obviously not Obi Toppin, because Obi hasn't really been able to, you know, get on the floor and play. You know, so I was hoping maybe we was going to get to see Quick or something like that. And guess what, guys? Quickly's not up there. You know, don't be disappointed. It's all right. I am disappointed, but don't be disappointed. Looking at the rookie ladder, taking a quick look at the rookie ladder, of course, is led by LaMelo Ball. All right, you know what LaMelo Ball is doing. It's no doubt about that. It's led by LaMelo Ball. After LaMelo is James Wiseman, who's averaging 10.9 points and 6.1 rebounds a game. Tyrese Halliburton, not even going to talk about it, but Tyrese Halliburton, 12.1 points per game, 2.7 rebounds, 5.3 assists per game. Anthony Edwards, he's averaging 13.6 points per game, 2.9 rebounds, and 2 assists per game. Patrick Williams from the Chicago Bulls, he's averaging 10.3 points, 3.5 rebounds, and 1 assist. Tyrese Maxey, he's averaging 10.5 points, a Kentucky guy, 2.5 rebounds, 2.2 assists. Peyton Pritchard from the Celtics. He's number 7 in the rookie ladder, 8.6 points. Then he had VA. He's averaging 7 points, 4 rebounds. Cole Anthony, he's averaging 9.5 points, 4 rebounds, 3.1 assists. And then Sadiq Bey, he's averaging 10.6 points, 4.7 rebounds, and just under 1 assist per game. There you go. That is the top 10 rookies right now in the NBA. No mention of Emmanuel Quickley, and definitely no mention of Obi Toppin on this list. We'll see if one of those guys can climb into it sometime this season. You know what I mean? I mean, listen, I don't know. I mean, Emmanuel Quickley's putting up some numbers. I don't know what his average is. His average isn't there yet. But now that he's healthy and he continues to play, Emmanuel Quickley could end up averaging 15 a game, 15 and 4, 15 and 5 a game, you know, if he starts to get 30 minutes a night. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, be tops on this list. You know what I mean? Prince, can Emmanuel Quickley get on this list?
Like Sam, I'm looking at it, bro, and I ain't gonna say I hate to say it, but I mean I give you much props. Like 2 or 3 of the cats that you talked about and that you heralded is on this top 10 list, man. So I know we can't talk about spilled milk, man. So I guess we got to move on. But I could see him maybe cracking this list. There's some guys on there who deserve to be on there. That Peyton Pritchard guy, I know people said he was going to be a pretty decent point guard in a Boston system. Who knows? I don't know if his numbers can be consistent with, what's his name? The point guard who's hurt. Dang, I'm drawing a blank right now. Anyway, I don't think Peyton Pritchard's numbers will be consistent. So again, a guy like Obi,
Kemba Walker.
Kemba Walker. That's what I was talking about. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, Kemba. So as long as Kemba hurt, he's going to put up those numbers. But once Kemba comes back, obviously we know his numbers will diminish. But to big up your point about Quickly, yes. If he plays consistent like he's been playing, and I mean, obviously, what we've seen from him is a consistent 9 to 15 points. Yes, I think he can find a way, especially if he finds a way to earn that starting spot. I think we'll definitely see his name on it.
What worries me is that, and I hope to God I'm wrong when I say this, but Quickly might be a better pro than Toppin.
We have yet to see what Toppin has. He's only played 3 games, so let's see what Toppin.
I know.
I'm just gonna hold on and see. Quickly, right now, is averaging 9.1 points per game and 2.1 assists per game. Quickly averages right now. How many minutes per game is Quickly averaging? And the thing I guess with Quickly is, he's going to be probably in and out because of the defense. I think he's averaging 17.9 minutes per game. Again, 9.1 points per game. He's shooting 37% from the field, 32% from 3, 2.1 assists, 1.9 rebounds. It's not bad. It's not bad for a rookie, but I think the more minutes he gets, that average can go up to 15, 16 easy, I think. Easy.
Oh, if he starts, it could go up huge. Yeah, for sure.
Easy, super easy, man. So, just a couple of things. I will be on tomorrow before the Knicks play, so I'll probably jump on about 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. We can break down the Knicks game versus Boston Celtics. An injury report has come out by the Knicks PR. Nerlens Noel is probable with a sore lower back. You remember last night he tried to block a shot and he fell on his back. But it does look like he's going to play. Mitchell Robinson is also probable. He has a contused right heel. You remember Mitchell Robinson fell as well after he tried to dunk. And he fell. He was hurt a little bit, hobbled a little bit. So he has a contused right heel. Doubtful. Alec Burks is doubtful. And Frank Ntilikina is out. All right. Looking at tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, just before I get up out of here, just looking real quick at tomorrow's slate of games. It is Martin Luther King. The games for Martin Luther King Monday. I'm sorry, not tomorrow, but looking at the games for Martin Luther King Monday, Martin Luther King Day. You have Orlando and the Knicks play at 12 o'clock on Monday. So I do want to make sure that you understand that. Minnesota and Atlanta, they play at 2:30 on Monday. Phoenix and Memphis, they play at 5 on Monday. The Milwaukee Bucks and the Brooklyn Nets, they play at 7:30. That's probably going to be a hot game because we're most likely looking at James Harden playing in that game. So that's going to be, that's going to be a big one. And then Golden State and the Lakers play at 10 p.m. This is Martin Luther King's Day, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So that is basically it for me for the shoot around today, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to head out. Chop, you got in kind of late, man. You got in kind of late. But I'm going to head out. Listen, this is what I'm asking from you all who are here, checking out the show. I want to ask you guys to, this show is going to continue to grow and we're going to continue to add little things to the show. But what I'd like you to do is just leave in the comment section some things you'd like to see happen here on the shoot around, right? And for those who are new, the concept of this show is that we come in the day after the Knicks game and we talk about the Knicks, not from a perspective of being upset at the game or happy at the game, but, how do we approach practice the next day? Right. So, for those who were here from the beginning of this show, that's what it was about. How do you approach practice the next day? All right. And then we take a look around the NBA and different things like that. So the show is going to grow and, there's going to be a lot of things implemented into the show. But just, leave some comments. Tell me what you think about the show and what you'd like to see on the show and how you'd like to see it grow and develop. All right. This is the shoot around, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. I appreciate you guys' time. And I am going to head out. I'll get a chance to talk to Chop a little bit, at the end of the show. And then, he'll make sure that he catches us Monday morning. You know what I mean? But anyway, I'm out of here, ladies and gentlemen. This is the shoot around. It's not perfect yet, but we're working towards perfection. Try to get this show exactly where we want it to be. It's going to be some dope stuff here. You know what I'm saying? So, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you leave your comments. Talk to us. What you like, what you don't like. Put it in the comment section. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Ring that notification bell so you'll be notified anytime that I go live. Right? Check out everybody that's in the NBK fam. You got Legion of the Knicks podcast. You got Ron Cleveland, who was on today. Man, it's the Knicks. You got Big Freezy, with the Blorence Tears. And we got some more guys coming, man. NBK fan, we are the Wu-Tang of this New York Knicks social media. Believe me with that, my friends. All right? Be peaceful, man. Subscribe, like, and as usual, spread love, ladies and gentlemen. I'm out of here.